it's not the ideal world. Every stewardship speech that I've ever heard, or every time I've gone to a clergy lady, or listened to us talk on stewardship, they emphasize time, talents, and treasures. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to emphasize time, talents, and treasures. Father last week told us a story about the taxi driver and the priest going to heaven, and how the taxi driver got the big house, the mansion, the priest didn't. It was because everybody prayed as the taxi driver was driving. It was a good story, and it was a good analogy. We all face the same challenges. Every church, every Orthodox church, every Catholic church, every organization. There's members here from Philoptohos, there's members here from AHEPA, there's membership here from GAPA. All the organizations face the same issue. The biggest issue is time. Nobody wants to commit their time to the church and to the activities of the church and to what we need to do. So on council, one of the reasons why I think people don't want to donate their time is because we don't do a good enough job of planning and setting dates for things. We know when our festival is. We know our festival is going to be in June. We know it's always the second week of June. Evan, 13th, 14th, 15th this year? June 13th, 14th, and 15th. That's our festival. Write it down. Make a note of it. But there's going to be a lot of work prior to that festival. And we're going to try to do a much better job than we have in the past of scheduling when we're going to be making things and organizing it so that it can go smooth. If you think about it, we used to have a 6-day festival. Those that worked it know it was not fun. I don't want to say it wasn't fun because we had fun. It was community development, relationships, and camaraderie, and it was fun, but we also got on each other's nerves. By streamlining things, we're able to cut our festival down to 3 days, and we're able to make just as much money. So it's a win-win for everybody. But council's trying to do a better job. They're trying to plan dates. One of the things we talked about at our last council meeting was we want to set a date for the general assemblies. That way people will know, and they won't have the excuse, well, I have to go to such and such a place today. If we put it out there far enough in advance, we're hopeful that people will be able to come to it. Same thing for things like Godparents Sunday,
Stewardship Sunday,
where we're going to set dates and we're going to try to have that. Now, a lot of this all dates back to BC, before COVID. That's when it seems like everybody attributes the problems and the lack of participation and the lack of people wanting to contribute their time, talents, and treasures, because COVID kind of changed everything. You can ask Lynn, and she'll tell you that one of the good outcomes of COVID were our candle donations. Our candle donations skyrocketed. People could not come to church, so they wanted to be part of church. So they would call and they would request us to light candles, and it ended up being one of our biggest money makers. And we go through our budget and finance committees. It's our biggest money maker. It's not quite as big as our festival, but other than our festival, it is our biggest money maker, and that was a blessing with COVID. We also started doing things like streaming services. We being streamed?
Yes, right now.
We're being streamed now. If you would ask Father his honest opinion, he would probably tell you he's really not in favor of streaming.
Down with it.
And we've had discussions about this. And the argument for us to continue to stream is we have a number of parishioners who are not capable or able to come to church. And those parishioners do watch. They watch religiously.
No pun intended.
Right. They do, they watch, and they get value out of it. Father's point is that he does not want people watching the services. He would rather have them come here and participate. You can't get communion by watching on television. And it's kind of now a convenience thing. It's very convenient for us because we got in the habit of not coming to church during COVID. Convenient just to turn it on and listen to it. That's fine when we're not able to come. So my first challenge to you, especially those of you that might be watching on streaming, or anybody that might tell people to go back and relook at the streaming event today and listening to the speech, my first challenge is come back. We want you back. If you are able, please come back. We miss you and we need you. If you need a ride, we have people that will pick you up. We're like Enterprise, we'll pick you up. We have people that will help take you to the doctors. We have an outreach committee. We have service and outreach. And I didn't even plan on talking about service and outreach, but I'll mention it. Service and outreach is something that the Father's really trying to implement and make us more community available, more aware in the community of what we do. We obviously have Philip to host some of the projects that they do with community outreach. But the outreach committee, that's one of the things that the outreach committee would look for. We look for people willing to take parishioners to and from church, take parishioners to and from the doctors, to and from the store, whatever you need. You have a whole network of people who are willing and able to help. So please come back. That's my first challenge. Too many notes, so I have to move this around. So the challenges of time. We all face the same issues. Nobody has time to commit. We have a soccer game today, so I can't come to church. There's a Steeler game at 1 o'clock, so I can't attend the General Assembly. Well, sometimes we have legitimate excuses. Next week, I told you, I can't come here. I have to travel on business. Could I have rearranged my schedule and came back on Sunday? Possibly I could have, but I needed to do something with my brother, so I'm going to do that next week. So that's why I'm here today. We have a General Assembly today. I hope we have a quorum and we're able to discuss the issues that we need to discuss. And I hope that everybody is able to attend it. And that's part of the reason why we're going to try to set dates so that people are well aware of it well in advance. But a little spoiler alert for the youth on the General Assembly. We're going to talk about some of the things that we need. This church is a beautiful church. Take a look at the icons on the ceilings. Father had a plan that he wanted to get even more icons on the walls and ceilings put in. But one of the things we cautioned about was the roof is rather old. So we're going to need to talk to you about putting on a new roof. We had an estimate from our roofer. Mike Sig has been very, very diligent. He's been the person that's been dealing with the roof issues for a number of years. And we have Boak and Son, and they're a very good contractor, and we have a good service and maintenance plan with it. And they've been very good as far as repairing stuff. If you remember a couple of years ago, we had a leak in the altar above the main icon. And that was repaired before any damage happened. But we're going to need to replace our roof sooner rather than later. We had an estimate of about $103,000. I just talked to Mike 5 minutes before coming up here. That estimate did not include some of the other items. The estimate's closer to $130,000. Another item, everybody remembers the incident we had a little while ago that kind of put us on red alert as far as security. We've been talking about things like the security committee, and the security committee's been meeting and doing some things. Just to kind of update you, and I don't want to spoil the General Assembly, but we've got quotes for cameras, we've got quotes for doors, and you'd be surprised at the cost of those. And so that's part of the reason why stewardship is important now, as it is forever. Another challenge that I wanted to issue during the General Assembly, we are going to nominate people for council. I encourage you to strongly consider running for council. It would be a wonderful thing if we had 6 positions and we had 8 or 10 people running for them. I think that would be good. It would enable us to get people with new energy and people with new ideas, and I want to encourage you to run for council. It's a good experience. Sometimes we're a little late on meetings and we're here a little longer, but we're doing important work for the church. The next thing I want to talk, if you remember a few years ago, I got to give the stewardship speech, and I mentioned something about candles. I mentioned, what's the first thing we do when we come to church? We come to church, we do our cross, and we light a candle and we say a prayer. And for years, we put $1 in the candle box, and we'd say our prayer and we'd go on. I said I'm going to come back to some things. One of the things that I said I'm going to come back to is the ideal world. We don't live in an ideal world anymore. Take a look around you. Turn on the news, turn on the radio, turn on the television. Look what's going on in the Middle East. Look what's going on in the Ukraine. Look what's going on in America. We're a very, very, very divided country. More so than ever. So what my challenge to you with candles is, Father, what is the correct procedure for when people come in and light a candle?
They come into the narthex, they come on time, and they give their money to the tray, and then they go and they choose a candle that they want to offer up to Christ or Panagia or one of the other saints. And if they don't want to take it up, Parish Council is more than happy to take it up for them up until a certain point in the service.
So my point was, whenever you light a candle, when I see a lot of our parishioners doing it, they'll say a prayer before each candle that they light. So my challenge is, there's a lot of things out there we can pray for. We can pray for peace in the Middle East. We can pray for the Ukraine. We can pray for the division of politics in this country. We can also thank God. We don't always have to ask for something when we pray. We can thank God. We can thank God that we have our health. We can thank God that we have a family, a loving wife, a supportive wife. If you're blessed with children, that you have that wonderful blessing of children and grandchildren, there's no shortage of things for you to pray for. And it wouldn't hurt if you did $1 for each one of those whenever you contribute to the candles. So that's my challenge to everybody. I wanted to tell, that was actually one, I have a couple more challenges. Oh, I know what the other challenge was. Legacy giving. When we go to the clergy ladies and such, they talk about legacy giving. Legacy giving is when you leave money to the church, whether it's an insurance policy or some other type of endowment or what have you. I know you're thinking, he's even asking for our money when we're dead. Don't think of it that way. I'd like to use the analogy, and forgive me, Father, if it's not a good analogy, but I want to equate legacy giving to the memorial service. We have a memorial service for what reason? We have a memorial service to remember the lost one and to pray for their souls. Legacy giving is kind of the same thing.
It's a very good analogy.
We encourage the legacy giving because when you're gone, the church will remain. And that'll be a way for you to help continue to support the church that you love. And also to have people, when you have the memorials, to do things like pray for your soul. So that's why legacy giving is a very good idea, and I can encourage everybody to think about looking into it. Father, can we send a link on we'll send a link on one of our emails as far as if you're interested in doing legacy giving on how to do that. Now, the other thing that I wanted to do, I'm going to ask the Father's assistance. I just wanted to give one more example. Humane Animal Rescue Society. This one I know. Wounded Warriors. IOCC. Salvation Army. St. Jude's. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of America. Another one from the Salvation Army. Medic Rescue. What's this one? Oh, it's the Light of Light Ministries. March of Dimes. Elizabethtown College. For our government.
Oh, you took one.
The American Bird Conservatory. These are just, and here's another one for Wounded Warrior. These are just an example of the last 2 weeks, the requests that we received in the mail for donations. Some of those we give to. So I'm sure some of those you give to, and there's others that you give to. That's another challenge that we face. We have a lot of people requesting donations. What we have to do, and I'm not telling you not to donate to places. You donate where your heart tells you to donate. But please, remember your church. We're here for you. We know you're here for us. And we're all in this together. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mikhail.